Hey Academy, Ian here with your tip of the day. Had to come home to help around the house a little bit, so just quick couple of thoughts based on the email that I sent earlier today. If you haven't seen it, go check it out just to see the story. It's a promotional email for Serve Mastery, but I go through the comment from a student that recently, just yesterday, signed up for Serve Mastery, and this student was she's in her late 30s and was told by, according to her, multiple pros at her local club that she can't learn a kick serve, and nobody can learn a kick serve unless they were a junior tennis player because it's too complicated and too difficult. And that's just bullcrap, just 100%. And in the reason why I recommend that you look at the email is because I used a couple of different GIFs of a before and after of a service motion of one of our elite student that I'm working with remotely. I've never worked on her with her serve in person. I've analyzed it remotely. I've sent her drills to do, progressions to do, and the before and after is super stark. Actually, in just a couple of days of her working on it. I gotta go upstairs real quick. So I used that example just simply to kind of refute the opinions that she was getting from the coaches at her local club. And I want to pass that on to you because I think it's very common for players and coaches to have the opinion that if you don't have a certain level of athleticism or pedigree as an athlete or level of experience or a certain gender or you're not a certain age, if you're beyond a certain age, there's a million different stories that we're told and that we tell ourselves that severely limit our potential. And these come from outside, they come from inside, and I think it's important to understand that if you have a good process, you have a good focus on the right things, anybody can get better at anything. What that means exactly, like what level that person ends up being is really kind of the question. That's when we start getting down in, okay, how good of an athlete are you? What are your innate skills or qualities as an athlete? But that does not preclude anybody from getting better and making the next step and then the next step and then the next step. It's ridiculous to limit anybody with like a hard line of you cannot do this or you cannot do this and completely cut down their ability to grow as a player and as a person. And not only that, but these coaches are limiting themselves. If they go around telling everybody you can't learn a kick serve unless XYZ, then how do they learn how to teach any better? If their automatic response is that's not possible for you, and so now we're going to work on something else, they're severely limiting their own ability as a teacher, as an instructor, as a practitioner. So just a couple random thoughts. If you want to see kind of the before and after of that coaching student, go check out the email. It has the subject line, "Don't listen to these coaches." Hopefully it gives you a little bit of perspective, and I'd be curious to hear what you think. What are some stories that you tell yourself or that you've been told from other players or coaches that are very limiting stories about what's possible for you and in the game of tennis? Be curious to hear what you think. Thanks for watching. Keep up the great work on your game.